So if you've researched diets lately, you've no doubt come across something called the paleo diet. This is a concept that's actually been around for quite some time, but only recently has garnered quite a bit of attention and buzz, primarily due to a number of celebrities that have adopted this approach, have been able to lose weight or maintain their weight, and also gain significant muscle mass from this diet. So, what is the paleo diet? So, paleo stands for Paleolithic era. This is the time in human history from about 2.5 million to 20,000 years ago. And it's important to note that that covers 99% of human history. And so the concept basically says that humans evolved around eating a certain type of diet, and that because of that, our bodies are more accustomed to eating this diet. They're more efficient at this on this diet, and that we have a much higher immune system response when following this diet. Typical versions involve eating meats, fish, nuts, fruits, and vegetables. And the primary items to avoid are wheat, pasta, cereal, processed sugar, and some versions suggest avoiding dairy as well. Probably the biggest appeal of this diet is that there's no counting calories. This diet is more about quality of food and not quantity of food. There's also a lot of controversy about the paleo diet, especially in the medical community and the Food and Drug Administration. And here's why. It basically takes the presently adopted food pyramid that we're all familiar with all of the grains at the bottom, suggesting that should be the greatest portion of our diet, and it flips it upside down. So if you look over here, this is what 99% of our ancestors ate. And it wasn't grains and pasta and breads. It was mostly animal products and eggs, and then fruits and vegetables, and nuts and seeds. What's the proof? Well, I think this graphic pretty much says it all. For millions of years, we were very athletic, we were fit, we were muscular, agile, and versatile. And then as grains and processed sugars were adopted into our diet, we became overweight, out of shape, stressed, disease-laden, just a number of diseases that have appeared over the last few hundred years. And the reason for that is because of our diet. Why does it work? Well, if you're not eating as many carbohydrates because you're cutting out processed sugar and wheat, breads, etc., then you're keeping your blood glucose and insulin levels level at a low rate, thus improving the state of the glucose metabolism. Because you're not eating wheat, you're removing gluten from your diet. And while some in the medical community will say that you only need to worry about that if you have celiac disease, there's a lot of new research that suggests most of us have at least some gluten intolerance, and that all of us actually experience detrimental effects from gluten consumption. Because you're eating what the paleo community refers to as whole foods or real foods, they're more nutritious and filling, and so you're not eating as much. You're not hungry as often. And there are a number of health factors that have been proven through recent research. So lower inflammation, blood pressure, protection against various diseases, and so on and so forth. How to start. So most people in the paleo community will say you need to try this for at least 30 days before passing judgment on whether this is for you. The primary reason is that if you're reducing your carbohydrate intake, you will most likely experience something referred to as the carb flu. And this is where your body is adjusting from using carbohydrates as its primary source of energy to instead using fats. And again, using fats is what 99% of humans have used as their primary source. Keep it simple. So try to get a nice protein source along with some vegetables and fruit with every meal. Be careful on the fruit. You don't want to overdo it because there is a high amount of sugar within fruit. And the paleo concept, while it's not really touted as a low carbohydrate diet, by default, it is low carbohydrate, especially compared to the modern diet that most of us follow. If you have a hard time with cutting out the grains and processed sugar cold turkey in the beginning, then just work on minimizing those foods gradually over time. And over time, uh, maybe a few weeks, a couple of months, you start to work where you're not as dependent on these types of foods. What can you consume? Meats, and most in the paleo community will say grass-fed. That's because if they're grain-fed, then there's the chance that you're actually consuming the gluten and grain components within the meat itself. Fowl, fish, eggs, vegetables, oils. So think natural oils. So olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil. Fruits, and again, you don't go too crazy on the fruits because they do have sugar. Nuts and tubers, which sort of sweet potatoes and yams, and these are very filling. Don't forget that paleo really is more a lifestyle than a diet. A diet is sort of a misnomer, or at least the way that most of us think of the word. This is not something you should intend on just trying for a few months, drop a few pounds, and then go back to eating all the processed foods, the potato chips, the bagels, so on and so forth. If you're going to do this, then look at it um, that if this works for you, meaning that after 30 days you feel better, you feel more healthy, you're sleeping better, you're losing weight or at least maintaining your weight much easier, then you need to consider doing this in perpetuity. Don't restrict count calories, as I said before. This is not a calorie counting. This is not a quantity diet. This is a quality of food diet. Just to reiterate that if you're having a hard time avoiding wheat, and wheat is in so many different foods that it may be difficult at first, at least try to reduce the intake and gradually reduce it over time. And best of luck. And there's a number of books out there that describe the paleo process, a number of podcasts and websites. So if you'd like to learn more, please visit those sources and I wish you the best of luck.